The elevator door slid open onto the penthouse with a soft chime that felt louder than gunfire in the silence that followed the slam. Liliana Harrington stood motionless in the foyer, arms folded tight across her chest, watching the red numbers climb back down to the lobby. 10. That was 10 nannies in 8 weeks. She exhaled through her nose, the sound sharp in the marble expanse. Emma's small voice drifted from the playroom. "Mommy." Liliana closed her eyes for 1 second. Just one. Then she painted on the smile she had perfected in boardrooms and walked in. Emma sat cross-legged on the rug, surrounded by half-colored unicorns. 5 years old, dark curls identical to her mother's, eyes too serious for a child. She looked up. "Is Miss Kayla coming back?" "No, sweetheart." Liliana crouched, smoothing a curl behind Emma's ear. "We're going to find someone better." Emma nodded, trusting in the way only children can. Liliana's chest ached. Better. She wasn't sure she believed the word anymore. By midnight she had posted the new listing herself. No agency this time. Salary triple the industry standard. Live-in. Absolute discretion required. She added one line she had never used before. Must love children more than money. The applications flooded in. She read them in bed, tablet glowing against the dark, deleting one after another. Too young. Too eager. Too polished. Too many selfies. Then she opened the attachment from J. Reyes. The resume was simple. No hatsot. 10 years experience, glowing references from 3 long-term families, degree in early childhood education, fluent Spanish. A short cover letter. I'm looking for a family I can stay with. I'm tired of goodbyes. Liliana stared at the last sentence longer than necessary. She scheduled the interview for the next morning. Juliette Reyes arrived at 8 sharp, no makeup, hair in a low ponytail, wearing a navy blazer that had seen better days. She carried a small canvas tote instead of a designer bag. Liliana opened the door herself. The doorman had been instructed to send her straight up. They sat in the living room with its floor-to-ceiling view of the Bay Bridge. Emma watched from the hallway, half hidden behind a pillar. Juliette didn't gush about the view or the art on the walls. She simply said, "Thank you for seeing me on short notice." Liliana studied her. Warm brown eyes steady. "No nerves fidetin. Tell me why the last family let you go after 4 years." Juliette's mouth curved, not quite a smile. "The children grew up. The youngest started kindergarten. They didn't need me anymore." She paused. "I stayed 6 months longer to help with the transition. Then I left." No drama. No blame. Liliana felt something loosen in her shoulders she hadn't realized was knotted. Emma chose that moment to step forward. "Do you like unicorns?" Juliette turned, expression softening instantly. "I love them. Especially the ones with purple manis." Emma's eyes widened. "That's my favorite kind." Liliana watched the exchange, something wary rising in her chest. Too easy. Too perfect. But Emma was already tugging Juliette toward the playroom, and Juliette followed without looking back for permission. 2 hours later, after coloring, snack negotiation, and an impromptu puppet show, Liliana made the offer on the spot. Juliette accepted with a quiet nod. She moved in that weekend. The first week passed in cautious observation. Juliette woke Emma gently, made oatmeal the way Emma liked it, with extra cinnamon, no raisins. She read 3 books at bedtime without rushing. She never checked her phone at the table. Liliana worked late most nights, returning to a quiet apartment that smelled faintly of lavender and children's shampoo. She told herself it was relief, nothing more. On the 10th night, she came home early and found them on the couch. Emma asleep against Juliette's side. Juliette's arm curled protectively around her. Some quiet animated movie played, forgotten. Juliette looked up, met Liliana's eyes and didn't move. Liliana felt the air shift. She nodded once, went to her office and closed the door. Sat at her desk and stared at nothing for a long time. I can't do this again, she thought. I can't let someone in and then watch them leave. Or worse, watch them stay and ruin everything. But Emma laughed more that week than in the previous 2 months combined. The second month began with rain against the windows and a board meeting that ran 3 hours too long. Liliana came home soaked despite the town car. Tie loosened, temper frayed. Juliette met her in the foyer with a towel and silence. Emma was already asleep. Juliette had left dinner warming. Salmon, roasted vegetables, nothing fancy. Liliana ate standing at the counter. Juliette poured her a glass of water without asking. "You don't have to wait up," Liliana said. "I know." Juliette leaned against the opposite counter. "Rough day." Liliana almost laughed. Rough day didn't cover it. The lead investor had questioned her personal distractions in front of the entire board. Code for single mother, code for rumors no one dared voice directly. She set the fork down harder than necessary. "I'm going to lose the series C if I don't fix my image." Juliette didn't flinch. "What does fixing look like?" "Dates. Public ones. With appropriate men." The words tasted bitter. "A charity gala next month. I need a +1 who photographs well." Juliette's expression stayed neutral. "I can watch Emma overnight." Liliana looked at her, then really looked. Juliette's face gave nothing away, but her fingers tightened around the dish towel. "Thank you," Liliana said quietly. That night she lay awake listening to the rain and hated herself for the relief that Juliette hadn't offered to help find the date. The following weeks settled into a rhythm that felt dangerously like peace. Juliette took Emma to the aquarium, the planetarium, Golden Gate Park. She sent photos during the day, Emma feeding giraffes, Emma asleep on the ferry home. Liliana saved everyone. One Saturday the three of them ended up at the farmer's market by accident. Emma wanted strawberries. They wandered between stalls, Juliette carrying Emma on her hip when the little legs tired. A photographer from a local society blog snapped pictures. By Monday the photos were online. San Francisco tech mogul Liliana Harrington enjoys rare family outing with daughter and mystery woman. Liliana's PR team panicked. Mystery woman needed identifying or denying. Liliana stared at the photo on her phone. Juliette laughing at something Emma said, sunlight in her hair, and felt her stomach drop. She called Juliette into the office that evening. "We need to talk about the photos." Juliette nodded, calm. "I saw them. They're calling you the nanny. Some are guessing more." Liliana's voice was steady, professional. "I need to know how you want to handle it." Juliette met her eyes. "How do you want to handle it?" The question hung between them. Liliana felt the walls closing in, the career she had bled for, the daughter she would die for, the truth she had buried since college. "I can't be out," she said finally. "Not yet. Maybe not ever." Juliette's face didn't change, but something flickered behind her eyes. "I understand." "Do you?" The words came out sharper than intended. Juliette stepped closer. "I've worked for families who couldn't be seen with me either. Different reasons. Same silence." She paused. "I'm not asking you to change your life, Liliana." The use of her first name, rare, deliberate, hit like a touch. Liliana looked away. "I don't want you dragged through gossip." "I can handle gossip." Juliette's voice softened. "What I can't handle is pretending Emma doesn't matter to me. Or that this job is just a job anymore." The air felt too thin. Liliana's pulse hammered in her ears. "Then what is it?" she asked before she could stop herself. Juliette didn't answer with words. She simply held Liliana's gaze until the silence said everything neither of them was ready to voice. That night Liliana stood on the balcony long after the city lights blurred. She thought about every careful choice that had built her empire and protected her daughter. And she wondered for the first time in years what it would cost to make an uncareful one. The gala invitation sat on Liliana's desk like a loaded gun. Black tie, red carpet, every major investor in attendance. She needed to be seen with someone safe, someone male, straight, photogenic. She hired an escort service that catered to executives. The man who arrived was perfect. Tall, Harvard-educated, discreet. His name was Ethan. Juliette helped Emma with homework in the kitchen while Liliana dressed. When she emerged in the midnight blue gown, Juliette looked up and froze. "You look beautiful," Juliette said quietly. Liliana's throat tightened. "Thank you." Emma ran over for a hug, careful of the dress. "Mommy, you look like a princess." Liliana kissed the top of her head. "Be good for Juliette." In the car, Ethan made polite conversation about the market. Liliana nodded at the right moments. Her mind was on the woman reading bedtime stories 3 floors above the city. The gala was everything expected. Flashes, champagne, careful smiles. Ethan played his role flawlessly. By midnight the photos were already circulating. Liliana Harrington and rising venture capitalist Ethan Caldwell power couple in the making? Liliana excused herself to the terrace for air. She texted Juliette. Home soon? The reply came instantly, Emma's asleep. Waiting up. She stared at the words until they blurred. When she returned just after 1, the penthouse was dim. Juliette sat on the couch in yoga pants and an old college sweatshirt reading. She closed the book when Liliana entered. How was it? Predictable. Liliana kicked off her heels. Everyone loved Ethan. Juliette nodded slowly. Good. The silence stretched. Liliana poured herself water with shaking hands. I hated it, she said finally, voice low. Every minute. Juliette stood. You don't have to explain. Ido. Liliana turned. Because tomorrow there will be more photos. Articles. Speculation. And I need you to know it's not real. Juliette's eyes searched hers. I know. Do you? Liliana stepped closer. Because I'm standing here in a dress that costs more than most people's rent, lying to the entire world, and the only thing that felt true all night was coming home to you. The confession hung between them, raw and irreversible. Juliette's breath caught. Liliana. I'm terrified, Liliana whispered. But I'm more terrified of pretending forever. Juliette closed the distance. She didn't kiss her, not yet. She simply rested her forehead against Liliana's, hands gentle on her arms. I'm here, Juliette said. However long you need to figure it out. They stood like that until the city quieted below them. The next weeks were stolen moments, fingers brushing in the kitchen, quiet conversations after Emma slept, one careful kiss in the hallway that left them both shaking. Liliana began canceling appearances. She delegated more at work. For the first time in years she took weekends off. Emma noticed. Mommy's home more, she told Juliette one afternoon, delighted. Juliette smiled, but worry shadowed her eyes. She knew the reckoning was coming. It arrived in the form of Liliana's parents. They flew in unannounced from Connecticut, citing concern for their granddaughter. Liliana met them in the living room while Juliette took Emma to the park. Victoria Harrington wasted no time. We saw the photos with Ethan. Promising young man. He's a colleague, Liliana said. Her father grunted. Better than those rumors last year. You need stability, Liliana. For the company. For Emma. Victoria added. A child needs a proper family. Liliana's hands clenched in her lap. She has one. Her mother's gaze sharpened. With a nanny? Really, darling? The word nanny landed like a slap. When they left, Liliana stood at the window until Juliette and Emma returned. Emma ran to show her a pinecone collection. Juliette met Liliana's eyes over the child's head and understood everything. That night, after Emma slept, Juliette found Liliana on the balcony again. They want me to marry a man, Liliana said without turning. Juliette stood beside her. What do you want? Liliana's voice broke. I want to stop lying. Juliette took her hand. Then stop. It's not that simple. It never is. Juliette squeezed once. But pretending forever is harder. Liliana turned to her then, eyes fierce with unshed tears. If I do this, if I choose you, I could lose the company. Custody battles. Everything. Juliette didn't look away. And if you don't? The question settled between them like truth. The leak came from an anonymous source, photos taken through telephoto lenses. Liliana and Juliette holding hands on the balcony, Juliette's lips brushing Liliana's temple, Emma asleep on the couch inside the frame. By morning the internet exploded. Headlines ranged from tasteful, Texio Liliana Harrington in relationship with daughter's nanny, to vicious, gold-digging nanny seduces billionaire. Liliana's phone rang non-stop. Investors pulling out. Board demanding emergency meeting. Her parents left voicemails laced with scripture and threats. She turned the phone off and went to find Juliette. Juliette was packing in the guest room, movements precise, face blank. What are you doing? Liliana asked from the doorway. Making it easier. Juliette folded tiny sweaters into a duffel. I'll stay with my sister until I find something. No, the word came out fierce. Juliette paused. Liliana, you're about to lose everything because of me. I'm losing everything because I hid. Liliana stepped inside. Stay. Please. Juliette's eyes filled. I can't be the reason Emma loses you. You're the reason she has me, Liliana said. The real me. Finally. They stood inches apart, breathing hard. I love you, Liliana said. The words felt both impossible and inevitable. Juliette's tears spilled over. I love you too. God help me, I do. They kissed then, urgent, desperate, tasting salt and fear. But the world outside kept moving. The board meeting was brutal. 3 members resigned. The lead investor delivered an ultimatum. End the relationship or step down as CEO. Liliana's parents arrived again, this time with a family attorney. They sat in the living room like a tribunal. Victoria spoke first. We're petitioning for temporary custody. For Emma's stability. Liliana felt the floor tilt. On what grounds? Moral environment, her father said flatly. You've chosen a lifestyle that confuses a child. Juliette stood beside Liliana, hand steady on her back. Emma, sensing tension, clung to Juliette's leg. Liliana looked at her daughter, then at her parents. You're willing to tear her world apart to punish me? We're protecting her, Victoria said. From what? Liliana's voice rose. From love. Her father stood. This is unnatural. The word cracked something open in Liliana. She stepped forward. What's unnatural is teaching a child that love is wrong. I won't let you do that to her. The attorney cleared his throat. We can avoid court if you agree to counseling and distance from Miss Reyes. Liliana laughed, bitter. No. Victoria gasped. You choose her over your own daughter? I'm choosing truth over fear, Liliana said. For both of us. Silence fell heavy. Emma's small voice broke it. I want Juliette to stay. Everyone looked at the child. She stood between the adults, chin trembling but eyes fierce. She reads me stories and makes pancakes with smiley faces, and she loves mommy. That's good. Victoria's face crumpled. Her husband looked away. Liliana knelt, pulling Emma close. Over her daughter's head she met Juliette's eyes, gratitude and terror in equal measure. The fight wasn't over. Lawyers' headlines, board votes still loomed. But in that moment something shifted. Later, after her parents left in silence, Liliana held Juliette on the couch while Emma slept between them. I might lose the company, Liliana whispered. Juliette pressed a kiss to her temple. Then we'll build something new. Liliana closed her eyes. The cost was becoming clear: money, reputation, family ties. But the alternative was unbearable. She thought of every careful lie she had told to survive. And for the first time, survival didn't feel like enough. 6 months later, the headlines had moved on to newer scandals. Liliana stepped down as CEO with a settlement large enough to secure Emma's future, but small enough to sting. She sold the penthouse, bought a house in Marin County with a yard and a lemon tree. Juliette found work consulting for early childhood programs. They lived quietly, carefully, but no longer in hiding. Emma started kindergarten. She had 2 moms now, officially on the forms in the world. Some bridges burned forever. Liliana's parents sent birthday cards to Emma but nothing to her. Old friends drifted. New ones appeared. Families like theirs unapologetic. There were hard days. Nights when Liliana woke gasping from dreams of losing custody. Mornings when Juliette stared at job listings in other states, wondering if leaving would spare them pain. But they stayed. One evening in early spring they sat on the porch watching Emma chase fireflies. Juliette's head rested on Liliana's shoulder. Do you regret it? Juliette asked quietly. Liliana considered the question. The empire gone. The safety net thinned. The scars from every public shaming. She thought of Emma's laughter echoing through the yard. Of waking beside the woman she loved without fear. Of finally breathing freely. No, she said. But sometimes I wonder if we paid too high a price. Juliette was quiet for a long moment. Maybe. Or maybe the price was exactly what freedom costs. They watched Emma catch a firefly and release it gently, hands cupped in wonder. Liliana laced her fingers through Juliette's. She'll never have to hide who she loves. That's worth everything, Juliette said. In the gathering dusk, the 3 of them formed a small, fierce circle against whatever came next. But the question lingered, unspoken between the lines of every choice they had made and every consequence they still carried. Was it right to sacrifice security, family legacy, and societal approval for a love the world insisted was wrong? Or was the greater wrong to deny that love and teach a child that some hearts must stay broken to be acceptable?